Hello everyone, in case you missed it, this is what happened in round 21 and unfortunately we start with heartbreak at the MCG on Sunday. Sydney defender Alex Johnson's fairy tale return to football looks to be over after just 2 games. The Swan suffering a suspected ACL injury to his right knee late in the opening term of the game against Melbourne. A devastated Johnson was assisted from the ground by 2 trainers, the reality of the situation setting in quickly as the much-loved Swan was consoled by teammates. Just last Saturday night against Collingwood, Johnson made his return from 5 left knee reconstructions to play his first senior game since the 2012 grand final win. Coach John Longmire shattered after the game.
You come off the ground and Alex has got a suspected ACL on his good side, and so everyone's a bit sort of digesting that, including Alex. It's a strange feeling.
We all play this game and love this game for a reason, and it's been a great story getting him back out there, and obviously really sad to see him go down today. So I just wanted, as a footy club, to pass our regards to Alex and his family, and hopefully we see him back again.
Johnson's tragedy prompted an outpouring of support from the football community on social media. Players, media and fans alike throwing their arms around the 26-year-old. Adelaide defender Brodie Smith, coming off an ACL himself last season, clearly relating to the pain. Magpies Jeremy Howe and Mason Cox joining the chorus of well wishes, with everyone in the AFL wishing him a speedy recovery. And I'm sure the Swans and the football community will wrap their arms around a truly resilient Johnson, and we hope we haven't seen the last of him yet. Well, unfortunately, that was the news that overshadowed what really was a terrific win by Sydney against all the odds. While for Melbourne, it's another crushing blow in their quest to make their first finals appearance since 2006. Johnson's injury was compounded by the loss of defender Nick Smith to a hamstring complaint. Down by 11 points at quarter time, the Swans booted 6 goals in a row to take the lead. The Demons were their own worst enemy, missing chance after chance as they watched their finals hopes take a hit. Buddy Franklin kicked 2 goals, taking his tally to 50 for the season, but it was Isaac Heaney that showed he is a cut above the rest.
Hogan Heaney flies and takes one of the marks of the year.
The Swan star sublime, and while the D's fought back in the final stations with a captain's goal cutting the margin to just 7 points, it was too little too late. And with games against West Coast and GWS to come, staying in the top 8 will be tough.
We're not sitting here and wallowing. We want to get on with it, move forward, be really positive with our group. Every time we've challenged them this year, they've responded. So, we'll certainly go down that path and get better.
Goodwin there trying to stay optimistic, but the nerves will certainly be high amongst Demons fans, especially after what happened last season. Well, 2 more sides set to feature in September played out an all-time classic, with the Eagles flying home to defeat a depleted Power after the siren at Adelaide Oval on Saturday. Port put the glove on the gov. Aidan Johnson handed the unenviable job of quelling All-Australian defender Jeremy McGovern, and it looked to be a genius coaching move when the 20-year-old, in just his 9th game, had fingerprints all over a 24-point lead at quarter time. But injuries to Paddy Ryder, Charlie Dixon and Dan Houston meant liftoff for the West Coast fightback. The Power were under the pump and holding on in the 4th term, a goal to Mark Lacroix setting the scene for a grandstand finish to the game.
Cripps will give it. Lacroix, you know where the goals are with Mark Lacroix, and it's on.
Less than a minute left in a tense game leads us to our play of the round. And a hero was needed for the Eagles, and they certainly got it in the form of the Gov.
Poor fans can't bear to watch. They led by 28 points at one stage, but the perfect storm has erupted.
Hey, he put the pressure on me. I had to kick it, but it's pretty simple, mate. Just go through your routine, that sort of stuff. Got to love your footy, though, don't you?
Remarkable in so many ways, West Coast never led at any point from siren to siren and still won the game. The epic also follows last season's unprecedented after the siren win from Luke Shuey in extra time of the elimination final. Port Adelaide coach Ken Hinkley insists the group will bounce back.
It's hurt us, but it won't kill us. We'll keep coming. And that's what we'll do. We'll attack the next 2 weeks. We're currently still a part of it, and we're going to give everything we can to make sure we are part of it, because we deserve to be a part of it, and we just got to keep at it.
The Power also confirming on Sunday that Dixon will need surgery on his broken leg. To the MCG now on Saturday, and the Hawks have put a big dent in Geelong's finals hopes. Hawthorn surviving yet another close encounter with the Cats to win their 4th game in a row and shore up their place in the top 8. It was another classic contest at the G. The Cats started strongly, edging out a 2-goal lead at quarter time, but the Hawks fired back in the second term, kicking 5 goals to nothing. With Tom Mitchell well held by Scott Selwood, young Hawk James Warple spun into action. Jack Gunston, Isaac Smith and Luke Bruce making the Cats pay. But in true Geelong Hawthorn style, there was another twist. 3 unanswered goals to start the final term saw the Cats claw their way back into the match. Tom Hawkins had the chance to slash the margin to 1 point, but missed. The Hawks eventually slamming the door shut.
The charge of the White Brigade. Puopolo up against Kolachesny. Puopolo just defends the play, dives in on top of it, holds it up. They want to keep it up this end, the Hawks. Now comes out the Shovelmakers. He just shovels it out. Smith over the top. Morrison inside for the killer blow, and Mira kicks the goal.
The Cats left to lick their wounds. They must win their final 2 games of the season against Freo and Gold Coast if they have any chance of featuring in September. It certainly is going to be an exciting finish to the home and away season. Well, GWS has consolidated its place in the top 4 with a 14-point win over Adelaide, but once again it has come at a huge cost, with the Giants' injury curse continuing. In freezing conditions in Canberra, it was a seesawing contest for most of the game, with the Crows desperate to keep their slim finals hopes alive. Lachie Whitfield was once again damaging off half-back with 30 touches as the Giants ended Adelaide's season. But the big story was the injury toll. Sam Reid was the first casualty, a hamstring issue taking him from the field. Josh Kelly the next victim after this dangerous tackle from Adelaide skipper Taylor Walker. But the most serious injury looked to be to veteran Heath Shaw. The defender carted off the ground after hurting his knee. Crows star Eddie Betts with a touching show of sportsmanship.
Class act, Eddie Betts, as always, and so too he's short.
I think the ACL's intact, which is you can take that as a positive. I think it's the PCL, so yeah, 6 weeks.
Certainly sounds as though it might take a miracle for Shaw to make it back in time. This is the Giants' injury list. It is growing by the week. 14 players on it at the moment, and they just can't catch a break. They definitely need their stars fit and firing, though, for September. Well, from one top 4 hopeful to another, and Collingwood has bounced back to outlast the Lions by 29 points on Saturday night at Etihad Stadium. Brisbane controlled the ball early and held a handy buffer, but when Darcy Gardner was forced from the ground with a dislocated shoulder, Pies star inclusion Jordan De Goey warmed to the task after missing the previous fortnight to kick 4 goals. Rising star favourite Jaden Stevenson, a standout performer again, reaching 30 goals for the season and claiming a career-high 25 touches. But the talking point happened off the ball. Levi Greenwood successfully tagged Dane Zorko, but has drawn negative attention for this incident after the Lions captain appeared to be hobbling. Brisbane coach Chris Fagan short and sharp in his assessment.
No, it's probably not fair play, but anyway, it happens.
The win, a big step towards Collingwood's first finals appearance since 2013. Time now to head to the sunny Gold Coast for our hot and cold. And Jack Riewoldt was on fire with 10 goals in a 74-point demolition of the Suns at Metricon Stadium on Saturday afternoon. The Tigers star had enough chances to break Fred Fanning's record of 18 goals in a game, but a swirling breeze contributed to his wayward 10-6 return. He still managed, though, to outscore Gold Coast off his own bat, his teammates ensuring a fitting end to a special performance.
Does give to Riewoldt, and Jack has 10! The perfect afternoon for the star Tiger.
Josh Caddy kicking 4 goals to play second fiddle as the ladder leaders finally took home a win from an interstate trip. Staying with the Tigers, and while the football world celebrated an old-fashioned bag from Jumping Jack, Richmond coach Damien Hardwick poured a bit of cold water on the feet.
It's a great individual highlight, and Jack will enjoy it, sort of thing, but unfortunately we're probably not going to win too many games if we continue to have 10 goals from one player.
Come on, Dimmer, we're all about a bit of me time, surely. On to North Melbourne now, and the Roos finals hopes are hanging by a thread after a brilliant second-half comeback from the Bulldogs. The Roos flew out of the blocks, Ben Brown's boot impacting the scoreboard, and Zane Cordy's head. The Dogs defender left with a fractured skull after feeling the full force of the Roos hoof. Down by 28 points at half-time, the Dogs finally found their dash. Jason Johannesson and Ed Richards doing the damage off half-back as the Bulldogs blitzed North with an 8-goal third term. A deft touch from Jordan Roughead will be scrutinised as milestone man Dale Morris put in a mighty effort.
But he's always found a way, Dale Morris, and that's why they love him so much, the Bulldogs fans.
North tried to fight back. Jared Waite cutting the margin to 8 points. Mason Wood missing a crucial shot at goal in what was a dog day for the Roos.
In game 250 for Dale Morris. They've done it for the veteran.
Ben Brown kicked 4 goals for the Roos, taking his tally to 58 for the season. That's equal first now in the Coleman race with Jack Riewoldt. In a round headlined by mounting injury lists, the medical room at Etihad Stadium was kept busy on Friday night in the Bombers' 43-point win over the Saints. Brendan Goddard had his knee on ice early. He was later cleared of structural damage to the ACL, while Adam Sard suffered concussion from this heavy hit by Nathan Brown. The St Kilda defender has been referred straight to the tribunal. Livewire forward Orazio Fantasia suffered a minor hamstring strain, and the already depleted bench totally shut down when Cale Hooker picked up a knock to his knee. Amid all the injury drama, though, Waller wowed the crowd with a career-high 5 goals as the Bombers kept their faint finals hopes alive.
He does. He's kicked a season-high 3 in the first half.
Bad news for the Blues before the first bounce on Sunday. Ruckman Matthew Cruiser ruled out for the rest of the season after suffering another elevated heart rate episode at training. It left Carlton to face the Dockers without him at Optus Stadium, a third-term burst from Freo propelling Ross Lyon's men to a 29-point win. The Blues hit the ground running, pacey Paddy Dow bouncing his way to an assist as the lowly side looked the goods. But a 7-goal Dockers flurry after the interval, led by Ed Langdon and Lockie Neal, turned a 2-goal deficit into a 5-goal lead that settled the battle. The umpires keeping a close eye on things in the last term as Carlton mounted a mini challenge. It wasn't enough though. Fremantle's 8th win of the season soured by a late injury to Michael Walters. To the ladder now, and the Tigers and Eagles sit above the rest of the competition. GWS keeps its spot in the top 4 while the Hawks are the newcomers, but it's extremely tight here. The Pies Swans also vying for top 4. The D's in power keeping their place in the 8 despite losses. The Cats are still hanging on in 9th. The Roos and Bombers also on 44 points, and that's where it all falls away for the rest of the comp. The Suns and Blues still on the bottom of the ladder. And that is another episode of In Case You Missed It, done and dusted. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you next week.
Can you believe